The Dave Brubeck composition, In Your Own Sweet Way, performed by the pianist and composer and explorer, adventurer, Andy LaVerne. This is part of his second National Endowment for the Arts grant, a fellowship in jazz performance. And I'm going to ask him about it at the moment, for I've located him somewhere over the Hudson River near the land of Rip Van Winkle. Andy LaVerne, welcome in.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you.
Wake up, Rip Van Winkle.
Here I am.
Do you remember an old Boyd Rayburn composition that was dedicated to Van Winkle?
Not off the top of my head. What's the name of it, do you know?
Well, I think it is Rip Van Winkle.
Ah.
But we'll get into that in another seminar.
Okay.
Andy, welcome in. It's good to make your acquaintance and extend the artistry into this territory.
Oh, thanks.
That Brubeck composition is a part of a collection of themes which you put together in a new CD on the DMP label.
Right.
And there was a special kind of purpose behind this project. What was that?
Yeah, this project came as an outgrowth, actually, of my second National Endowment for the Arts Jazz Fellowship, Jazz Performance Fellowship that I received last year. And the purpose of it was to actually document modern jazz piano lineage. So what we did was, or what I did, I should say, is I played a concert at Kamman Hall in New York City on December 4th, 1987, of a program of what I felt were some of the linchpins or benchmarks of modern jazz piano compositions. And these compositions are all composed by other jazz pianists who I felt are very influential in today's jazz piano. And as an outgrowth of that concert, Tom Jung, who I have recorded for in the past, actually the first CD I did for him was also an outgrowth of another concert, which was the result of another NEA grant I got, which was basically a tribute to Bill Evans. And from that came the CD Liquid Silver. So TJ, or Tom Jung, I should say, was at this concert, and we spoke about the possibility of recording it, and he liked the material so much that we decided to just go into the studio. His studio's in Stamford, Connecticut, and use his beautiful Hamburg Steinway piano and his impeccable recording technique. I mean, I've never heard sound like this in my life.
I thought I was inside the piano, as a matter of fact, as it performed.
Exactly. And so we committed this stuff to digital tape, and that's how it more or less came about.
Well, you have a cross-section of composers and pianists in this group. You start with Thelonious Monk, and then Dave Brubeck's composition here, and then Richie Beirach and Herbie Hancock and Bill Evans and McCoy Tyner, all of them, along with Bill Evans, Keith Jarrett, and Chick Corea, and Andy LaVerne.
Right.
And in fact, we're going to listen to one of your compositions in a moment, but I must ask you how you deal with composing. You are a composer, and how do you summon up the muse that gives you whatever you want to go down?
Well, you know, it's not really a matter of me summoning it up at this point, because actually when I first started playing when I was like 6 years old, I was composing even then, even without realizing it, but I just had a desire to create my own music, pretty much, and that has seemed to stuck with me throughout my life, basically.
You've been composing since the age of 6?
Yes, I have. So it's something that's sort of second nature to me. It's just as important to me, as an important aspect of my musical expression as the playing is. With this particular project, the other side of it is that I didn't really have an opportunity to explore my own compositions too much, since I only included one of my own compositions, which was kind of the point of the whole project, was to other people's material. So to answer your question, it's just kind of a thing that's almost second nature. Composing is just about second nature to me at this point. I really have to think about it that much. The only thing I feel that I need is a purpose to write at this point, an outlet for it, be it a particular engagement or a recording or a concert, something along those lines.
It's more than a deadline, then.
Right. Oh, much more than a deadline, certainly. And as a matter of fact, I think I did when I did my most prolific composing so far in my life was when I was with Stan Getz for 3 years. That was a great outlet for me because Stan was really open to playing original tunes at that time. And I was with him for 3 years, and I composed about 20 tunes a year for the band. So all I'd do is write the tune, and then that night or the next day, whatever, we'd be playing it on the gig.
And Stan would be soaring over you.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the first time that I played with Stan, when I was subbing for Joanne Brockeen initially, the first thing we played together was one of my tunes. He asked me if I wrote any tunes, and I happened to bring a couple down with me, and that was the first thing we played together. So.
Andy LaVerne, who have been some of your mentors or inspiration teachers, coaches that have opened doors for you, in the intellectual sense or in the composition and performance area?
Actually, I studied composition at Juilliard when I was much younger, and also at the High School of Music and Art in New York City. I had a very excellent teacher at that point named Morris Lawner, but that was more traditional harmony and contemporary music also, but not jazz, certainly. As far as jazz goes, I was very fortunate. When I was around 19, I got to meet Bill Evans, who at that point was really my idol. I can say that without hesitation. And Bill was a very, very interesting person. We happened to live not far from each other in the Bronx at that point, and he invited me up to his place, and we had what really amounted to a few lessons that Bill more or less gave me. I mean, he didn't even charge me or anything, because he didn't consider himself a teacher. And he had kind of an interesting philosophy about teaching. He felt that if you showed somebody, in terms of jazz, if you showed somebody specific voicings or uses of particular scales with chords or whatever, that would ruin the thrill of discovery, of self-discovery. Now, unfortunately, the other side of that issue, being a teacher myself at this point, is that a lot of people are not as gifted innately as somebody like Bill Evans was. So there's two points to that kind of philosophy. But in any case, Bill was very open, and I learned a lot conceptually from him, from those sessions that we had together. So Bill was one, and I also studied privately with Don Friedman years ago, another excellent pianist, with Jaki Byard, who is also a great player, had a lot of great stories about Miles and the old days, and about longer than that ago, maybe 15 years ago, I took some lessons with Richie Beirach in New York. Even though we're the same age, Richie at that point had developed quite a bit further than I had at that point in time.
Andy LaVerne, it's really a pleasure to make your acquaintance by phone. And as we tumbled through the night here out in the Midwest, and you there in Rip Van Winkle's country in the Hudson Valley,
right,
in Peekskill, what about the composition Men of Moses Who Wear Glasses?
Yes.
Don't Make Passes at... Oh, no, excuse me.
Right. That's another tune altogether. I haven't written that one yet.
Yes.
Men of Moses Who Wear Glasses actually came about... the title came first in this particular instance. Usually with me, it could be one or the other. I might have a piece and then look for a title later, or vice versa. In this case, the title came before the music, and the title actually came from a Wynton Marsalis interview on PBS TV, where he made a comment in passing about Men of Moses Who Wear Glasses. As you might or might not imagine, it was more or less a derogatory comment, which actually had the Jewish jazz community in New York in quite an upstir at the moment, and at that particular point in time. Anyway, I extracted that comment rather than make a federal issue out of it or confront him or whatever with it. I didn't think it was worth it, but I felt that I would take what was initially a negative thought and turn it into a more positive kind of energy. And that's where the title came from. And I actually wrote that piece for this concert because I wanted to include an original composition, and I wanted it to be something that was written specifically for the concert. And that's the story behind it in a nutshell.
Andy LaVerne, thank you for sitting in with us in the small hours.
Sure, my pleasure.
And we'll meet again, I'm sure.
I look forward to it.
I've been talking with Andy LaVerne. His CD, Jazz Piano Lineage, is on the DMP label, in the DMP catalog, produced by a former Minnesotan, Tom Jung.